much of what we learn about science, nature, and the environment happens outside of school, beyond the walls of museums, zoos, and nature centers. I have worked as an independent environmental professional for many years and know there are others like me who interact with the public in communities worldwide. On the Talaterra podcast, we discover who these professionals are, what they do, and how they create change. Why do I focus on independent professionals? I focus on them because of their ability to move freely between different contexts, like schools, organizations, businesses, and communities. This demonstrates something powerful: the transferable nature of environmental education skills. These professionals have developed approaches and solutions that can be applied wherever people want to understand or engage with environmental topics. Thank you for joining us today. I'm your host, Tanya Marion. Today, my guest is fundraiser and impact growth leader, Alexandra Dumitrescu. In this episode, we discuss nonprofit funding. Alexandra highlights the potential of technology to enhance fundraising efforts and presents ways that nonprofits can diversify their income streams. We discuss e-commerce models, leveraging SaaS platforms, improving donor relations, and lost funding opportunities. We also discuss initiatives that Alexandra has founded to help nonprofits create sustainable income and integrate social impact features in business products. How might Alexandra's ideas, or some version of them, be applied to your project, organization, or partnerships? How does this conversation reframe what you see as being possible in environmental education? Let's join the conversation. Alexandra, thank you so much for being here today. I am so looking forward to our conversation about how nonprofits can fund themselves differently, move forward differently while doing social impact work.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. And just to note that we are in different time zones, and thank you for making time overlap in different places on the earth. So that's one of the good points that technology has, and we can enjoy.
Yeah.
So luckily, we have the opportunity to talk to each other, being geographically in different places, but being connected by, I think, by the same curiosity of how to better fund impact.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, technology is wonderful that way.
It is, and I think that the conversation today is going to be exactly about how technology can be used for good, and how sometimes it is a blocker in the sense that in the sense of lost potential. Like, even with all the amounts of technology that we have right now, there are still a lot of topics that maybe organizations which are in the impact space are not benefiting that much, or are not making life easier for themselves. And that hinders their potential for impact.
Okay, so this is a great place to start to dive into our conversation. So, you are a senior fundraising and impact growth leader. You are located in Romania, and your current focus is diversifying income streams for nonprofits and working with businesses to expand the reach of their social impact work. Your position, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you believe that society, all of us, can unlock a different type of social impact cycle and system. And part of this involves reimagining how nonprofits and businesses and individuals can work together. And so it's a big topic. And so I guess my first question to you would be, based on your experiences and observations, what isn't working for nonprofits?
I would go a little bit deeper than that, and frame nonprofits in the bigger space of the industry for good, which is currently separated between who is responsible for good. And the responsibility for doing good currently sits with nonprofits as a general rule. And however, the market of doing good and the market of donations is in the United States, I think sits at around 3% of the GDP for a long time. And that is more or less the same everywhere in the world. So the problem is the amplitude to which other industries are growing in terms of market volume as compared to the growth of the industry for good. And this has two main points that I would like to touch on. First one is how can nonprofits expand on that market potential? And the second one is how can we blur the lines between nonprofits and profits in such a way that we see more business doing profit and purpose at the same time. So one idea is how to put more business in the impact space. And the other one, which is going to be our discussion for today, is how do we make the nonprofit market larger in value and volume? And in this area, the question is how do we make it available for nonprofits to get more money for the impact that they're making? Because the discussion is not that, and I see that one of the key elements that nonprofits are not working on right now is, or that they might work better on, is the ease to which they make available the possibility for people to get involved with their work. This comes also, I do not necessarily have a skill, for example, in understanding the world or doing good, or how to say, when you see a country director of a nonprofit or somebody who builds a nonprofit, they are usually very passionate and talented and very deep into a certain topic. I'm not like that. And that doesn't mean I have I'm problematic. It means that I've seen my passion into how can I put all my experience and everything that I know in the service of those people who are doing good. So I come from having worked in retail quite a lot, both in brick and mortar as well as e-commerce. I come from running the digital marketing department of a media company, of a media conglomerate in Romania. And in this way, I found that I have the unique position to actually add all the expertise and all the experience that I've built along the years in the commercial sector into how to make more money for the people who are doing the impact. And it is because, coming, for example, from working with the fashion and lifestyle e-commerce, it's impossible for us to sell shoes for $400,000 in a day, while at the same time, nonprofits, or one of the nonprofits that I worked with, to generate, I think, $400 a month. And the problem is not that people will not donate to nonprofits, but rather that nonprofits don't make it easy for people to donate to them. And this goes back into the whole discussion about the technology, the infrastructure, the resources that the nonprofits are putting into making the conversation with potential donors easier.
Okay. So how can it be made easier And what is technology's role in that? What needs to change first? Let's start there.
Well, let's start with another example. The last time you shopped online for something,
Yes.
like let's say the beautiful part of nonprofits is that some of them, hopefully most of them, will have both one-time donations as well as regular donations. Okay, so let's look into the membership example. And the last time, for example, you paid for your Netflix membership. Okay, did you get a confirmation email? Yes, you did. Okay. Sometimes, for a lot of nonprofits, you will not be able to get that confirmation email because it is not implemented. Last time, when your card expired, did you get a reminder 2 weeks before your card was supposed to expire? Did you get an email telling you, hey, your card will expire soon. You need to change it if you want to keep your membership? Okay,
Yeah.
but how many of the nonprofits we are supporting right now on a membership basis, how many of them do you believe have structures and people and systems inside their organization in such a way that they notify you that your membership will expire, your card will expire, and thus your support to the cause that it's close to your heart is going to keep going. And the problem is that there are there are a lot of them which are doing this, but in the greater scheme of things, with a lot of nonprofits which are small and medium, they lack the human resources to implement this. They lack the technology. They lack the time to actually think about this.
Mm-hmm.
And now the potential that I see in this space and what brings me hope for the future in this area is that it's not rocket science. So if you were to look at everything that Amazon does and everything that other your favorite shops are doing and just try and replicate that, it will become you will see a growth in your revenue. And this is just talking about acquisition. And not to mention everything which is related. So this would be acquisition, and then go into everything which is customer care and try to replicate it into donor care, and it's the same thing. And then try and replicate everything that big brands are doing, trying to upsell stuff to you, or trying to remind you that maybe you would like to buy this with this. Okay, and everything which is cross sell, and try to replicate that into donor streams, and you will generate more income. So the same way that the nonprofits are purpose driven, and they're working towards an impact. My impact in this area is that I strongly believe that nonprofits are selling products. So if you package every donation in terms of a product called hope, it means that you're making hope available to shop online. And the question is, how do you package that hope? How do you, for example, do a donor care in such a way that the person who bought the hope from you, the hope for a better future on the long term, how do you package that product so that that person understands what he or she bought? I hope that the metaphor for how do we make hope a bestseller is is going to be catchy.
Yeah. Okay, this is great. So I have a couple questions here. Do you have any examples to share of a nonprofit that has adopted more e-commerce type customer relations practices? And what change did they see? And then I'll ask you my next question after that about packaging hope.
Perfect. So I have 2 points on this one. The second one is related to adding commercial pillars where you can add as a nonprofit, add the commercial pillar. Nonprofits, they're called nonprofits, but doesn't mean that they're not supposed to generate profit. So do consider adding a commercial element to your nonprofit where you can. Obviously, not all impact can develop a commercial pillar, but some of them actually can. And the first one, to answer your question, as examples, in my work, which has been working with nonprofits for I think over 9-10 years now, I've went through various beliefs or steps, let's say like that. Currently, and this is, I'm not trying to promote any service or one service or another. Currently, I believe that the easiest way out of these types of blockers, like technology or product development and so on, the easiest way out is to use a SaaS platform for donations. Like, instead of actually building your own website for donations, feel free to find one of the platforms available, one of the donation forms available, and work with them. This comes because most of the nonprofits I've seen, which are small to medium, they are usually working with WordPress or are building their own websites and so on. But the discussion now is that when building a fundraising, when building your fundraising possibilities online, you're not building a website. You're building a small business. Amazon, we are going back to that. But Amazon, I think they were not hitting break even for 10 years until they've hit break even, so that they can generate now all the money that they are generating. I'm not saying that you're going to become the next Amazon in donations, but I'm saying that most of the nonprofits I've seen, they do not have the resources, the capacity, the time to actually build their infrastructure for donations in such a way that it becomes efficient for them. So instead of you, who is maybe not necessarily into the e-commerce business, instead of you building your own website, you will be building your own website as a general, like, communication website, but as donation, considering as programs and products and everything which is building around that idea. Work with, for example, Fundraise Up, or like software as a service solutions like Fundraise Up, Donor Box. I think I've seen nonprofits working with the iRaiser as well. There are local solutions as well, so feel free to find your local team. I know some of them in Europe, for example, but I don't think I've seen a lot, like more than one or two nonprofits who have a product manager in-house. And if you do not know that you need one, then you will hire somebody. You will have the expectation from your digital fundraiser to do everything, and he or she will not be able to do everything. And then you will that will turn into the fact that you will not see the full potential of what digital fundraising can bring to you, and you will not invest, and so on. And that goes back to why people are not investing in media, for example, in media spend. Because going back to your fundraising structure, if you are not measuring your KPIs in terms of how much money am I paying for a one-time donor, how much money am I paying for a monthly donor, then you will not be able to go to your country manager or your fundraising director and ask, oh, I need this budget because I want to bring you this amount of donors for next year. And that goes into planning, and that goes into how much impact can those people, your teams in project management, how much impact can they actually make without knowing how much money they will have. So tracking your donations and having your digital infrastructure e-commerce proof, let's say like that, is a prerequisite for your teams in project management to be able to think bigger in terms of the impact that they can make. And you've asked me of examples. I've been in that space where I wanted to build a cross-country, a multi-country donation website as an open source solution so that multiple nonprofits can use it. Meanwhile, there are companies who have done this, and they are doing it very good, and they are doing it. One simple example that I'm going to give to you why I believe that this is a very valid option is that the amount of people who are buying on their mobile devices as compared to the amount of nonprofits who are optimizing their donation websites to mobile. So there are, like, if you go into fundraise donor box, you will be able to see what are the nonprofits they are working with. So currently, my feeling is that unless you are a very big organization who has on a regional level a big department of product management and implementation, there is no need for you to actually build your own donation website.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So these websites, these SaaS services then allow nonprofits to track donations to help build up their infrastructure and their customer relations.
First of all, they give you the opportunity, for example, to have dynamic, like, let's talk price.
Okay.
Okay. So it's easy to set up the price, for example, when you are selling, I don't know, a t-shirt, let's say like that. Okay. Because you have cost of goods, you have transportation, you have margin and so on. And now the question is, how do you price a donation? And the question is, if I enter on your website from Romania and somebody enters on your website from Switzerland, they will see the same amount of money, right? Because you've priced your product as compared to what the fundraising person maybe considered that it will be three types of, okay, it's going to be $13 and $20 and so on. Usually it's around $5 per regular donations here, at least. Around $4 to $5 per regular donation. Okay, but the question is, wouldn't it be interesting that the amount of money that is shown to you is related to factors that might influence your possibility of giving? Would that, on the long term, factor in the amount of money that you as an organization are making? And this is just a small amount. This is just a small example of how technology can actually help you generate more income. And now, obviously, it's not rocket science, but the question is, who is handling this in a nonprofit? And if you don't have people who are looking into this, then you're just losing money.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of, okay, we're making a certain percentage 5% out of, I don't know, we're making 95% of a big amount of money, or 100% out of a small amount of money. But this is just with the forms. So the way these SaaS solutions work is that you're building your donation form as a product and you're pricing it on a general level, like these would be the amounts of money that I would consider, and you're building all your product, the amounts of money, whether it's a one-time or a monthly donation, what are the what is the information that you want from the donors, and so on. And you're building that, and you're just embedding it into your website. And in the platforms, you have the possibility to generate automated emails, to generate functional emails, and so on. But you also have the possibility to do peer-to-peer fundraising or do crowdfunding, and these are easy. Like it's not it's not going to become a blocker when to play around the strategies of fundraising around a certain campaign. Because what you see with small and medium nonprofits is that they've started out of a big hunch of money in the first place. So they usually had the grant, or they had the founder or something, and then they started everything around the campaign. So their funding was based around a campaign. But now the question is, if you want to build further, you need programs and you need products related to those products, and you need campaigns related to those products. So unless you're thinking it, so my invite to everybody is to look at fundraising products as if they were products in an e-commerce, to look at fundraising programs as if they were categories of products, and to play around those, and also to close on fundraising products. Because in the same way that you have a cycle, a retail cycle, a commerce cycle of a product, in the same way you have to analyze your fundraising products to understand whether they have hit their full potential, and you need to add something different, and not only focus on what are urgency campaigns. Because if you hit urgency, it means that you're in a situation where it's a life and death threat, and maybe your organization becomes very unstable, or it might be that you're not building a sustainable future for your organization. While all of us are still struggling into making things easier in terms of donation journeys, the question should be on what Gen Z are going to use. So we are building the systems for a generation which is close to us. But what we should look into is how to build the systems, how maybe to jump 3 steps up and try to build the systems for generations which are going to donate in the near future, which maybe are going to go home and say, Alexa, please donate to your cause. Now I made the pause so that you can fill in the gaps there with your cause. And now the question is your donation system ready? Who builds that readiness? Because while you are still looking into, should I send an email to say thank you for my donation or a confirmation and so on, the next generation of donors are not having the same behaviors as you might expect, and nobody is preparing your organization for that type of donor. So my invite is for everybody to stop everything that they're doing once a year at least, and try to future-proof their fundraising. To all the nonprofits out there, please give everybody a possibility to contribute the way they can.
Okay, so my next question then, if we are looking at this through lens of a retail business, I want to revisit upselling here. What has upselled well? What have you seen work well um, in terms of a product that continues a relationship that helps strengthen a relationship between an organization and the donor?
First of all, I have seen that there is a certain category of donors who are not making, you're not making a sale. Okay, I'm pushing the metaphor forward, but you're not actually making a sale, you're building a connection. So I'm pushing the metaphor just because it's a matter of uh, adding professional expertise or copying something from one industry to another, but you're not making a sale, you're building a relationship, and that means that you need to look at your whole database um, and analyze it and try and understand it, because usually people are making a donation after they have had an interaction with you as a nonprofit. So it's either people who have been volunteering to you, or people who have shared your content, or people who have maybe downloaded an educational PDF out of your website, and so on. So you need to understand and map out those interactions in such a way that you understand how can you transform that interaction into a donation as well. And the latest tool that the latest, I don't know, business that I've seen, and I think will have a very interesting intervention into the way nonprofits are looking at their databases and the potential of fundraising, is a business called Dataro, which are they are analyzing your database. So you need to understand, you need to at least you need to have data first of all. And what Dataro does is that they're looking into your database, and they are running algorithms to understand what is the potential of giving for certain categories of people in your database. So they are doing exactly this on a large scale with large scale data sets. So this is, for example, one of the examples. But in order for you to be able to understand and segment that type of data, you need to first have it somewhere. So the fact that you have your peer-to-peer fundraisers in one platform, and your donations in another platform, and maybe your volunteers somewhere different, and these information are not together and are not communicating, this is not helpful to you.
Yes. Okay. So then the service as a software, the platforms for nonprofits, then, well, with everything together, then they can integrate with this Tataro and other services, and understanding your data is that much easier. Looking for
And
that.
another easy thing to do, which I believe that has a lot of results, is automations. Like if you look at, and now we are talking also about data. Okay, so it's going to be difficult to have somebody who moves data from one place to another. Okay, but now you have make.com and Zapier, who can use connectors between various data sets to move them all together. And then make sure you have an email marketing solution that can maybe do automated emails depending on various action points and various moments in the lifetime of your donor. And I've seen this with like the fact that it will take you 3 months to implement. Okay, so it's not going to take you 3 months, first of all. Like working with maybe somebody who is used to using Zapier and make.com is going to be easier. I'm saying 3 months, not because of the complexity of the project, but of the complexity of the fact that you will be forced to map out all your processes as a nonprofit. And maybe when you start this process, you're going to say, oh, it's easy. But then you're going to say, wait for it, because I have direct debit and I have digital donations and I have this platform for peer-to-peer fundraising, and all these data are flowing in different moments. So I think that the largest effort into this is actually the effort of mapping out your processes and your data flows. And if that is all set, then doing the integration is not that difficult. And another thing that I will stress about is do test it. Like everything that you do, allocate the time to test, and then make sure you have a reminder to verify your integrations and your automations every 3 months, so that you make sure nothing broke, because it's also technology. There are updates, constant updates to all the product that you're using.
From what you've observed in your work, there's a lot of connections being lost, a lot of funding
Missed
being
potential.
missed potential. Exactly.
And I don't think it's complicated. I think that you need to make sure somebody in your organization knows that they exist, so that somebody can go and ask for help. Because I do believe that the community revolves around asking for help. And I think that there are a lot of nonprofits who have a lot of friends and a lot of professionals able to help them, if only they know what to ask. Because if you go to a pro bono consultant, or if you go to somebody and just present your problems, you will. I believe that it's a matter, and this is my personal belief. I believe it's also a matter of. It's not lack of respect, but it's also, if I'm asking you something specific with the problem that I have, and I know that you can help me, I'm giving you an opportunity for you to be part of my story. If I'm coming to you and I'm saying, oh, it's so hard, we're not getting any donors, I don't know what to do, nobody funds us, I'm not offering you any opportunity for you to intervene. Because the first thing that you're going to do is, okay, you're going to donate another $5.
Yeah.
But that will, on the long term, if that funds just another person who is moving spreadsheets from one place to another, it's not being efficiently used. But now we're going back to the what donors feel that their money should go into. Because this is also a matter of how to educate donors. Because donors believe that or want that their money go directly to the impact. And now the question is, but who will fund the fundraising website, for example? Or if you want your money to go directly, this is what my former country manager of WWF said in a meeting, and it stuck with me. We were doing a fundraising campaign for the only bear orphanage in Europe. And it was a conversation with somebody who said, yes, but I want my money to go to feed the bears, to feed the baby bears. And he said, And he said, we were looking for money to fund the campaign. Okay, and he said, yes, sure. Do you believe that baby bears like eating plastic? Yeah, and I don't think that they're going to be happy if you just put a build in their mouth and feed. So somebody needs to fund all the infrastructure that goes into feeding the bears. But I don't know how to solve this one.
Yeah.
I do believe that if you're donating to a cause which is dear to you, and you get some information related to where your money is going or how the project is going on and so on, I believe that on the long term you are building a relationship with the organization and with donor. So you will understand that the organization is not only that specific project that you're funding.
You are involved in other projects specific to you. Can we talk about Our Ways and a bigger pie? Our Ways is a organization that helps nonprofits create new streams of income outside of grants. How do you participate?
What are they doing?
Yeah, what
Okay.
are they doing?
So I started this 1 year and almost a half now. And I've started with the intention of building a business consultancy company for nonprofits, which is Our Ways for Nonprofits. Uh, Starting from the challenge of how might nonprofits diversify their income streams. So exactly under the conversation that we're having, the idea was how to work with nonprofits so that they can expand on the income streams that they are using right now and enlarge their potential for receiving donations from individual donors and corporates. So I am completely out of mechanisms for grants. So I've come to the idea of adding business elements into nonprofits in such a way that they make more money from more diverse sources. In a market context, this also came um, in the larger context of US cutting down on funding and in the USAID, for example, and the understanding of more nonprofits understanding that the fact that they are monodependent on one income streams is not going to be sustainable on the long term for the impact that they want to make. So, okay, I'm sure that uh, just generating income from one-time donors is not going to be life-changing in terms of, I don't know, larger than the horizon types of projects, but it's going to be financially sustainable if you want, for example, to hire somebody who is not project-based. So, or it's gonna help you if, for example, you want to build a new website or I don't know, operational development or implement Zendesk, for example, for your donation communication. Um, okay, so I've started Our Ways exactly to answer the question. There is no way I can make more money. So the topic is yes, there is. There are ways for you to make more money. If we just sit and look at what you currently have, maybe map out what your program, your fundraising programs are, and understand where you can expand or if you can enter into new ways of doing fundraising. So this is one. And now by doing this, I said, okay, so the objective is for nonprofits to generate more income. But now for them to generate more income, we need to make the pie bigger. And this is where a bigger pie comes into place, which is the company which works with corporates to build features for nonprofits into their existing products. So if, for example, you already have a product, and I'm going to give you an example from one of the companies I work with. So I've mapped out companies which are analyzing financial data from financial systems. Okay, and there is a tax in multiple countries. There are various tax exemption benefits. Okay, so obviously, none of the companies which are currently selling data analytics about financial data analytics about companies, none of them are looking into nonprofits. But what my pitch was to them is that they can add a button on their dashboard to say, oh, so this is the amount of money that you could redirect out of your taxes to fund impact. Okay, so this is because I'm looking at the MVP.
MVP stands for minimum viable product, which refers to the test case that Alexandra worked on.
Was done in Romania, and as I was looking in the data in Romania, only 7% of the companies actually used that tax exemption benefit. So from my point of view, it was lost potential, lost money from what could have gone into nonprofits but never went because companies didn't know that they can redirect and so on. So that's the point. The idea is working with companies to generate features for nonprofits. The other example that I can give to you is, for example, I've seen potential in expanding the voice of nonprofits into influencer marketing. So there is a company called Fleming Joy. They are also a company which is doing influencer marketing campaigns. So what I've done was talk to them and say, hey, I know that you're making profits out of clients who are running campaigns in your platform with a lot of influencers. Would you be interested in opening this opportunity to nonprofits? Okay, they're not going to pay you, but so you're not making money as a company. However, you are making relationship with your influencers because you're giving them an opportunity for them to talk about their values and things that they believe in. So instead of you always pushing commercial content towards them, you're also gonna give them the opportunity to support the cause that they believe in. And beautifully, they said yes. So now within Bigger Pie, I'm building this structure of multiple benefits that nonprofits have from various companies that have built nonprofit features into their products. And this also works with companies who maybe do not have a CSR strategy. Yeah, it's like, nonprofits.
I'm going to interrupt you. Your CSR, corporate
Okay.
social responsibility strategy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's like for nonprofits, I believe that the impact, I believe that product management and product managers as a role is completely missing. And for companies, I see that there is an opportunity to build a new role, which is impact product manager, who is adding impact features and nonprofit features and doing good features to their existing commercial products. So this is what I'm doing, and I'm also trying to build with various partners various SaaS products for nonprofits. So exactly like the ones that I've told you about, which are running, I'm trying to do like a startup kind of a think tank kind of initiative with products that we might build in order to address the tech for nonprofits industry.
So you are a true impresario. You are bringing people together from all domains to have this conversation, to build bigger pie and our ways and all these other projects, the other work that you do. So I have a question about adding social impact features to existing businesses. Is there any concern that greenwashing might become a problem with, or are the businesses who are choosing to participate in this bigger pie program, the structure that you've created, are they just not that way? I mean, they don't think that way.
I have no idea how they
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
Like I cannot answer for them. The chances of greenwashing in an initiative where you modify your commercial product to also fit or to also welcome nonprofits, the chances are smaller because you are playing with your commercial product. So it's more of a transformative type of a CSR activity, which relates to the way you're doing the way you're doing your business and your product, rather than, oh, I'm selling these drinks, and out of my 100% profit margin, I'm donating 1% towards a cause, and I'm pushing that as a sales strategy and as a communication so that I convince people to actually buy more of my product. So it's this one as compared to I'm actually changing the product that I have to also open it to generate more money for nonprofits.
Yeah. Okay.
That's why I'm okay. And I'm convinced that I'm not solving everything. There is so much space for people to come into to intervene into this area and with solutions, or to do initiatives for good. And my ask, my expectation, and my hope is that more of the startups that I see will be built with profit and purpose at the same time, and not only profit and at one point say, oh, and I'm also going to donate this amount of money. So instead of having this separation, I am looking forward to a lot of impact, people seeking impact careers in the current time and hopefully in the future. I do hope that the speed to which that is happening is at a higher speed than the speed to which our to the speed to which nature is degrading, and uh, the, the speed to which we see effects of climate change, and the speed to which we have seen extremism taking over as a and becoming such a, I don't know, general everyday discussion.
Yeah. How can people learn more about you and reach out to you?
So while doing this for 1.5 years, I started building my network. Came as a second, came in the second place. But I am active on LinkedIn, so they can find me on LinkedIn. I know that my name is a little bit difficult to pronounce, but it's LinkedIn/Alex Dumitrescu. You will find me. I've been working with so just a couple of anchors to find me. I worked with WWF for a long time. I've also worked with WWF in across Asia Pacific. Yeah, and you can find me from, I think Bigger Pie is easier to it's easier to find on LinkedIn. It has a pink logo. And I have another question. So, if anyone feels the same way about making Hope a bestseller from nonprofits, I did start a Substack, and I'm I'm welcoming anyone who wants to have a conversation about that, or who wants to have an opinion about that, or if they feel the same, please feel free to reach out. And I think that there are a lot of nonprofits out there who would benefit from this type of framing, let's say like that. You will not save the world, but you will maybe make a nonprofit a little bit more efficient in the way that they are doing their fundraising.
Thank you for joining us today. To learn more, I invite you to explore the links in the show notes. Conversations like this one, along with practical resources, are part of what I share through my newsletter, Transferable Solutions. It is in the newsletter where I explore how environmental educators can reimagine their skills across sectors. If you're curious, you can subscribe to the newsletter through the link in the show notes. Thanks again. See you next time.